This session is going to be about setting up multiple sheets. When you require multiple sheets, you can set up the sheets as I'm about to demonstrate to you, and it will allow you to use the same grouping to make multiple changes also, if you also need to do that, to make changes to the format, add or change formulas, etc., simply by doing it once. Okay, so we're going to set up it from scratch, and we're going to have three groups: group 1, group 2, group 3, and we're going to save the file as Westwood Gardens. So I'll just quickly save the file. So File, Save, and put it into your area that you're saving your files into. Call it Westwood Gardens. I'm calling this Westwood Gardens 2, but again you can call it what you wish, and save. And here we go. So I went three groups. So sheet 1, so I'm going to double click into here. I'm going to call that group 1. Click away, click on this one, call this one group 2. And again, my own particular machine here doesn't show grid lines, so I need to change that each time. So I just need to go to here and view the grid lines to make sure they're there. And again, I'm just bringing it up on my machine so that you can see it clearer. And finally, group 3. And again, doing exactly the same thing, but this is because of my particular format on my machine. And again, just pulling that up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1. So now I'm going to actually group these together. So what I do on 1 happens in all 3, and I'll just do a very quick one first of all and let you can see that. So I'm selecting group 1, I'm holding down the control key, and then I'm going to select group 2 and then group 3. And then you can see down here that they're actually linked, they're grouped. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to put in Westwood Garden Centre sales for, my typing, for April to July 2020. I know it says 2012 on the example, but you can always update it. So I'm going to stop that there so that you can see that everything's happening on groups 1, 2 and 3, and I'm going to ungroup it. So I'm going to simply right click it all anywhere down and simply ungroup the sheets. So there's group 1. Now if I click on group 2, you can see exactly the same thing, information is on the same sheet in the same place, sorry, on the next sheet, but exactly in the same place. If I click on group 3, again, you can see exactly the same thing. So that's what's going to happen each and every time I do it. So I'm going to click on group 1 again, group 2 and group 3, and I'm going to finish filling in the headings for the actual sheet that we want. Okay, so now I've got all the headings in, I'm going to start putting the formulas in. So I've got to have a little bit of imagination here to understand what exactly it is I want. So I'm going to go over to total units, and in here I'm going to say this is obviously going to be equal to the sum of all the units from April through to July. So that's simply going to be equal to sum, open the bracket, and April through to July, close the bracket, enter. Over to your total sales, and that's simply going to be equal to the unit price multiplied by the total units, enter. I'm going to take this and copy this all the way down to row 11 and do exactly the same with this one all the way down to row 11. I'm going to then go to row 13 and I'm going to put the word totals in, and then going over to April and asking for the total for April sales. So that will again be equals sum, keeping this relatively simple because this is all about doing multiple sheets, not necessarily difficult formulas. Into there and taking that and going all the way over. Whilst I'm here, I want to highlight, identify anywhere, and again this is just as an exercise to format anywhere where there's actually cells, with formulas that are going to be used. So I'm going to simply highlight those and change them into a pale grey. I'm also thinking about total sales ahead of myself. All of these will be singular figures, but what I would like here is I'd like these actually to be what I would like with total sales is to be in monetary format with commas for thousands and no decimal places. So I'm going to just highlight this particular one here, and I'm going to click on the comma, and I'm going to say decrease this by 2. Even though I can't see it, I know that the comma will automatically put thousands of 2 decimal places in. One thing I forgot up here is I'm just simply going to click in here. I'm going to put in group, and this is going to be 1, and enter, and I'm just going to make that bold. Okay, so that would appear to be all I want for this. So I'm going to ungroup now, so I'm going to right click and I'm going to say ungroup the sheets. So here's group 1, but if I go to group 2, it's obviously still saying group 1, so that's the only thing I need to change. So changing that to 2 and going over to group 3 and changing that to 3, and there we have it. Alright, so at this point then I have it completely filled in for group 1, group 2 and group 3. And all we need to do then is start to fill in the information for each of the garden areas of group 1, 2 and 3. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and you'll actually find the information in the workbook, and you just need to fill in the information, and you will see then, as you are then filling in the information, all of the formulas will kick in. Okay, so now we have all the information in. I'm just looking to see what do I need to change, and there doesn't seem to be too much, except I might need to change out column A to make it slightly wider. Yeah, and I'll just change the size of that, and group 2 as well. I can also see that in here, yep, that's fine. It's all working out. In group 2, there's obviously an extra one in there. I don't think that really matters. It just means you've got an extra row if things need to be put in. So the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just widen column A. And because I want all of them to look the same, I'm just going to regroup. So again, clicking on group 1, holding on the control key, group 2, group 3, and I'm just going to ever so slightly pull that out to maybe there, and on group again, and I should really have been looking at the one that had the tablecloth on it, which I think was group 3, and there it is, tablecloth. So now everything is pretty, you can see absolutely everything. So that brings us to the end of part 1 of this particular assignment, and that is how you could set up multiple sheets.